let's move to assessment objective 2. For AO2, you are expected to explore, experiment, and refine your work as you go along. You need to show experimentation with different ideas, materials, and your technical skills should improve with time. You're perfecting both your ideas and your techniques. So here I will show you quickly some examples of various materials and techniques you can use to show experimentation and fulfill the requirements for AO2. Obviously, painting and drawing should be consistent in your sketchbook. Here's an example of a drawing and a painting. You can also try out photography and take your own photos using either your phone or a camera. Print them out, stick them in your sketchbook, but make sure you mention that these are your own photos. This is a very good habit to develop, to use your own photos throughout your sketchbook. Sometimes it is even better than using images you find online. You can even make drawings and develop ideas for an artwork from your own photos as well. You can also experiment with collage and paper mosaic. Collage is a technique of creating a composition by combining and sticking cut pictures, maybe from various magazines or newspapers. Paper mosaic is sticking small paper cuts to create an image. You can also combine these two techniques with drawing and painting if you like. Printmaking is another fun and interesting technique to try. Printmaking is the process of creating artworks by printing, normally on paper. Your school teacher will teach you this technique where you might carve out a design on a lino block or a wood surface, and then you cover it with ink and press it on a piece of paper to create a stamp or a print. You can find also a lot of tutorials online for this technique. Mixed media is another great example of material. Mixed media is an artwork in which more than one medium or material has been used. It is an assemblage or collage of different materials such as found objects, cloth, paper, wood, thread, dried flowers, and the list goes on. Anything you can find from everyday life and stick it together can be a mixed media piece. Now you can also try out 3D processes and create sculptures with various materials. You can do modeling with air-dry clay and create figurines, as we see here, or construct something with recycling materials such as cardboard and paper. You can also create boxes with scenes in them and use lighting within your piece, or you can do carving on polystyrene, wood, etc. The list is endless of what you can use to create 3D work. These are only a few examples I'm showing you here, but you can go online and search for more ideas. Now, some students who are familiar with digital programs such as Photoshop or Illustrator or know how to use apps on their phones to design art, they ask me regularly if they can use these as a medium in their sketchbook. I often say why not, you could give it a try, but of course don't overdo it, especially if you're taking the fine art title. It is very important to practice and use real drawing and painting. You could dedicate a page or two to experiment with this technique, however. Finally, you can try out installation art if it is easy and you have the space to do it. Installation art is basically mixed media constructions, usually designed for a specific space and for a temporary period of time. In this example, the student has created something specifically for this space by putting up on the wall and ceiling paintings of galaxies on paper to create a large installation artwork that changes the space of the room, and when you stand there, it gives you the illusion that you're flying in outer space. To summarize, this is a list of different materials and techniques you can employ and use throughout your sketchbooks. Painting and drawing, collage and paper cut art, photography, printmaking, mixed media, 3D art, digital art, and installation art. It is good to experiment with as much as you can and not just focus on using only one or two, such as painting or drawing. Students have a tendency to do that because it feels comfortable, but it's best to show variety, so try not to fall into this tendency too. In the PDF guide, you will also find a checklist with the various mediums you can use, and I suggest you print it out and stick it on the back of your sketchbook to refer to it every once in a while, so you can keep a check on yourself if you forget to experiment with some materials. Now, let's focus a bit on the term refine. We have looked at the various materials and techniques you can explore your ideas with. But what does refine really mean? Well, basically refine means that you improve and perfect your work and your ideas and make it better as you go along. You could take one composition or an idea and try it out with different techniques and see what works and what doesn't work. Then you can choose your best version and try to refine and practice a technique until you get better at it. Practice makes better, especially in art. So for AO2, you're expected to make things, experiment with materials, and perfect your work and techniques. But you should show that you have become better and the work has evolved from the beginning to the end.